Right. Here we have a chapter called as Data Tools. Data Tools is an option in Excel which will help me in, say, consolidating the data, or grouping some data, or extracting data, or say connecting data by other application, and get the data to my Excel sheet and start doing reports or analysis on that. So how to do those things? Let me just show you. See here, in this data tools, we have 4 other sub chapters. Let me go to this data consolidation. I'll open this consolidation. There is a file. So what this consolidation will do is it will collect the data from various sheets and put it into one sheet by consolidating, that is by grouping. Let's see how it will do. I'm just opening the file. Okay, let's check the data. See, I have 4 regions in north, south, east and west. I want to consolidate this and put it into one sheet here. So I have created one sheet here and I've named it as Consolidate. So it's not necessary that it should be Consolidate only. Any sheet you can take here and you can start creating the consolidation. Let me go here, click anywhere on the Excel sheet, and then we'll go to this data. Then we'll say here we have few options. Just go here and check this. We have something called as Consolidate. You can read that. It says summarize data from separate ranges, consolidate the result into single output range. Let me click on this. So you should be in this particular sheet on where you are creating the consolidation, and then once you click on that consolidate button, you will get a window like this. So what this windows will have, this window will have, see here I have this function. When I click on this function, I have various functions here. I can choose which function I need. Let's say I want to sum, I want the total, and here I have this reference. Let me click on this button and then we'll go to the sheet from where I need to get the data. Let me select the data completely and then I'll say add. So one range is added here from other sheet. Let's go to another sheet. I will select the range and I'll say add. Now the second sheet data has come. We'll go to one more sheet. Let's take the data and I'll say add, and then we'll come to one more sheet and I'll say add. So I added all these 4 sheets range here, and then here I have something called as use labels in. Labels are nothing but this one, the top and the left row. This is the heading. So what I'll do is I'll say I want the top heading here. So based on this selection only the consolidation will happen. Select this and here I'll say left column. Now if I say OK, see, it will consolidate, means it will give me the total of this east, or say north, or south, or west, and I'll get the results here. This is for the sum. Now how is this working? If you go to this, let's take this east, and it is saying 967,226 quarter 1. Let me select this, and if you see the total, it says 967,226. If you go here, see, I'll get the data here. Fine. This is for total of the values from the selected range. Now let me go here and understand. See here, here it says quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and say total. Suppose if I don't have this quarter 2 and quarter 4, and here I have all the quarters, then what will happen here in my north? So I'll be getting blank value for quarter 2 and quarter 4, because in this north I might not have quarter 2 and quarter 4 data, but rest all the other ranges will have. Then these two cells will not have the values. Fine. Next is, suppose if you want to get the average, then what should I do? I don't have to again select all the ranges here and then create average. You just have to go to this consolidate. Here I'll have the function. Let me change this function to average, and I already have these selections. Say OK. See, I'll get the average. I want minimum or maximum. Just click on this. Select the function. Say minimum. Say OK. So I'll get the minimum value. Let me go here. Say consolidate. I'll say maximum. I'll get the maximum value. This is one way of consolidating. Other ways, let me just clear this. Let me select the cell in A1. I'll go to this consolidation. Here I'll say create a link. So what this will do is it will create the link here. Now suppose if I'm just creating without link, so what it will do, it will consolidate and there is no link between this sheet and this one. So suppose if I go here, I delete something here, and if you come and check here, see, it still have the same data. Suppose if I go here and then do the consolidate again, let me say okay, see, then I'll not get the result. That means I deleted this data after consolidating this range, and now I'm taking this after deleting. This is before deleting, this is after deleting. There is no link unless and until I create a new consolidated table here like this. Let me delete this. Let's say Control Z so that I'll get that value here. So I got the value back. Now what we'll do is we'll create a link. Let's select in A1. I'll tell you why we should select in A1. If you select anywhere here also it will come, but let me select A1, go here, and I'll say create link. When I say create links to source data, if I say okay, all the data whatever is there in each sheet, that should come here. I'll say okay. See, I'll get a group like this. A group will be created like this. And if you go and check this, see, I'll have the formula here instead of only the data. Let me click on this plus mark. See, it says East B2, B3, or anywhere. So everywhere I can see the formula. Now let me go and delete this and come back. Let me click on this plus mark. See here, automatically I'll get this 0. So in the previous consolidation, I was not getting that blank or say 0 because it was not linked. When I create after deleting one more consolidate table, then only it was giving me the updated data. But here it will be a linked table. So what will happen, whatever changes I do here, that will get reflected here when I link the data. So you can decide whether I want with link or without link. So this is data consolidation. Let me go and take, I'll come to this splash fill later. We'll go to this grouping and outline. Yes. Grouping and outline is nothing but you're trying to group the value based on the data what we have here in each column. Let's say, for example, I have the same data like what we saw in the previous example. We'll go to this data and here I have this data tools. Here what I'll do is I'll try to group this. Here I have something called as subtotal. Just click anywhere in your table and say subtotal. So what it will do is it will ask on which column I should group and in which column I should do the aggregation. Aggregation in the sense the total or say average or whatever. See, the same functions what we have in our in the previous example we saw data consolidation we'll have here also. But what this will do is it will try to group. Let me go here and say at each change in region. That means here this one it will try to group. If you want to change any of these columns, then you can go and select here. But what I'll do is I'll select region here. Later we'll see how to change other columns as well. I'll say sum on which column I should do the total, say sales. That means the column which I need to group, what function I should do, and on which column I should actually perform this function. I'll say okay. See, now let me click on this first level. It is saying grand total. That means the complete total has been given here. This is the total for complete table. Let me click on the second level. That means this is for the grouped level. That is, I selected region for grouping these regions. So I'm getting the grouped value based on this region. Now when I click on this third level, then the expanded value for each the regions will come here, each value for each regions. Let me click on the second level. If you see this, it says west. So what happens? So for each region I'm getting one row inserted and I'll get the total for it. Let me just click on this plus button, and if you go and see here, see, I got one row inserted here and I'm getting the total here of all this. Right, let me go and do the same thing for another column. When you are actually working on this grouping and outline, you should be very careful, because there will be a row which will get inserted, and then a total will be done for each grouping column. Now let's go and check for product. If I do the same thing for product, say subtotal, I will select product now. I'll say the sum should be done on this, say this column, that is sales. I'll say okay. Just observe what will happen if you're doing like this. I'll go to this first level. Anyways, the total will be same. But if I click on the second level, see, I'm getting so many subtotals here. See, lightsabers, then again transponders, again glue guns, again lightsabers. But I have all these common, so only these three are common, and here I can see a lot of duplicates here. So I wanted to group according to this three products only. But why is it actually coming, so many times? So for that, what we'll do is, let me just go back to our data. If you check this data, that data grouping, see here, it says lightsabers, till here it is lightsabers. So what it will do is, while grouping, it will go and check the common values like this. Now the next value is transponders. What it is doing is, it is grouping here and it is going to next group. So once it is grouping this common values, then again it will go to this product. Now what it will do, since this is not equal, again it is grouping here. So what you have to do is, if you are grouping, so what you have to do is, you have to sort the column before grouping. The first column, when I didn't have to sort it, because it was already sorted, so I was getting only 4 regions. But the second column, when I did, it is a product, it was not sorted, so it was grouping according to the data it was aligned. Let me sort this. You know how to sort this. So in the previous session we saw data, sort, select the column to be sorted. I'll say ascending or descending. I'll say okay. Now the data is sorted. Now let's try this. Subtotal, and here I'll say product, sum, the function, and based on this sales, I'll do function. Say okay. See, now if you go to the second level, see, I'm getting only these 3 products. That is because the previous option what we did, we had not sorted. Now we have sorted. So what's happening, all the common values are coming one next to each other. So once it is finding the uncommon values, it is going to the second group. So whenever you are doing grouping, make sure that you are grouping that particular column, and then you are working on this. Otherwise, there is one more option, that is creating a pivot table, that we'll see in our next session. Then you'll understand how we can group multiple columns. In this grouping, I can do only one column. That's all. You cannot do multiple columns grouping here. If you want to do multiple columns, then you have to go for pivot table. Fine. Next one. Next, we'll see how to use this text to columns. Text to columns, let me just check. I'll open one text file here. Just observe this data. This is very difficult to understand. Whenever we get some data like this, say it can be in a text, or it can be in a CSV file, or any other kind of files, we have to import it. Especially when you have this text file or CSV files, what will happen is, the data will be separated with something called as delimiters. What are these delimiters? Delimiters means a character which will separate each data. Say for example, if you see this market, comma, company, that means market is one column, company code is a column, then again contact ID, so likewise. So this comma separator, what you see, the comma, that will separate the data into different columns. Why they're using delimiters here? That is because if you take a text file, we don't have a column or a row as we have in our Excel sheet. So this is one advantage as well, because this will be taken as just a raw text. Here I cannot insert any object. I cannot format this object, the data with different colors, or I can put some charts. We cannot do that. It is just only data. So whenever I need only data, what I'll do is, usually I'll keep this in text file or CSV file, so that the file size will be less. So most of the data, when it's huge, what they do is they'll try to keep it in text file, so that the file size will be less, and I can easily send it to the other person. So it is very much portable. So for that, what we are doing is we are using this text file. But when I want to do analysis, so this text file has to be imported to my Excel sheet. So how to do that? That I'll show you. So what we'll do is just open one new Excel sheet, just a new Excel sheet. And what we'll do is we'll go here, any of the txt file or csv file. I'll just, csv file is nothing but comma separated values. It is similar to your text file only, but there the data is always separated by comma. But in text file, it can be comma, or it can be semicolon, tab, it can be anything. Let me take this file. Just see, I'm dragging it like this. Just drag it and drop it in the Excel sheet what I've created here, like this. Just drop it. Now if you see here, I'm getting the data, complete data, which we saw in the text file in Excel like this. See, everything is there in the same column. If you see the data, it's in same column. It's in only one column now. Actually, it's not there in second column. It's continuity like this. If you go and check this, say market, comma, company code, comma, contact ID, client ID, and project. These are all different, say, columns. Now I need to separate this into different columns. So what I'll do is select the entire data like this. So select there and say Control Shift down arrow, and what I'll do is I'll go here to data. Here I have something called as text to columns. Just click on this text to columns, and here it says delimited. That means this file is delimited. Delimited means a file which has the data has been separated by delimiter is called as delimited file. I'll take this delimited, say next, and here it will ask for the option on which character the data is separated. Now here the data is separated by comma. I'll click on this comma. If you see this preview, see automatically the columns are getting created here. See, when I click on this tab, it will not create. When I go here, if I click on this comma, the columns are getting created. But you should be very careful. Sometimes what will happen is the data is separated by space as well. Suppose now if you give this space, there are chances that you might miss the data here, because there are some space in these column headers as well. Okay, so be very careful while choosing the delimiter. I'll select comma, next, and I'll say finish. Let's just say finish, and if you see, the complete data has been separated like this. That means any value in a text file or CSV file can be imported to my Excel sheet, and I should understand the delimiter. Based on the delimiter, I'll convert the text value into the column value. That is called as text to columns. That means text value I'm just converting to columns. That can be done by delimiters, and delimiters are a character which will separate my text or data into different columns. So you should study which delimiter the table is actually, the data is using. Based on that delimiter, I should separate the columns on the text what we have taken. Okay, this is text to columns. Let me take this flash fill now. So why I took this in the end, I'll tell you. Flash fill is a kind of tool which you can see after 2010 version. Okay, this flash fill is just a simple tool which will help me in extracting the data. What I was trying to tell you is, now let's say I have the sales person name. It says James Kirk. So what I'll do is I want only the first name. I'll just type only James. One way is I can type it manually, or I can use this text to column like what we did, or some different ways I can do this, and I can separate it. But we also have an option, that is, here we have this flash fill. If you see this flash fill, so what it will do is it will automatically fill the data here. Let me click on this. See, it will automatically understand that I need the first name. Now let me go and type the second name. See, it is typing the second name here. I'll just type JK and say enter. See, it will give me only the initials of this. It's not only of this column. Now let's say I'll go here, I have the slide savers, I'll say LS enter. See, it will give me the value for this column. Say enterprise, I'll say ENT enter. See, it is taking 3 characters of this column. So what it will do is when I give a value here, it will understand what actually I need. So it will come from this side, say from left to right like this. So I'm finding this. When I say ENT, so it will go and search where is the ENT. Here I have this ENT, it will search the value, and next it will understand that I need 3 characters for the next columns. This is something like an you can call it as like artificial intelligence, where it will understand what actually I need, and it will give me the results. It's not only for text, it will work for numbers as well. See, now you should understand one thing: this flash fill will work only when it is just next to next immediate column. Suppose, let me clear this. I'll go somewhere here, and now if I use this James, which is not related to this table, let me give this flash fill. See, we looked at all the data next to your selection and didn't see a platform for filling values. So that means it is not understanding somewhere I should get the values. So when you're using this flash fill, make sure that you're in this next column itself. Otherwise, you'll not get that flash fill. So flash fill is actually used to automatically fill the values based on the value I'm specifying or what I'm typing. Right? Okay. So this is what we have in our data tools. Right. Next what we'll do is we'll discuss about data validation. Let me open this, and we'll first discuss what is this data validation, and then I'll show you a lot of options in this validation. In previous session, while working on this say what is that conditional formatting, we took one data validation list and we used to select that. Example, when I select a name, then the row was getting highlighted. So those kind of validations I can do here. First, let's understand what is the data validation, and then we'll see how we can work on this. Let me just go here. First, we'll understand what is data validation, and then I'll explain you all the validations available in Excel. First is validation means what? Checking. Validate. When I say validate, in a column, suppose if you want to enter only numbers has to be entered. We should not enter any other say text or names or anything which is not related to that column. That means when I'm entering itself, I'm checking all the values so that next level of cleaning will be easy for me. Say for example, I'll go here in this age. What if someone enter like this, and here in age they'll enter something like this, or in this age itself, what if someone enters 700? See, all these are invalid data, wherein this will again have to go collect the data, and the data what is collected you have to go and check that, QC that, then clean the data, which is actually very difficult. It's not difficult, again it's like a double work. Instead, what I'll do is I'll design my template such a way that the user should not enter the wrong data. So while entering itself, I'll validate saying that okay, this is not the right data what you're entering, please enter the right data. So how to do this? For this, we have something called as validation, that is data validation. Data validation means validating your data while entering. Again, I'm telling you, this will validate only on the key press when I'm entering. I'll tell you about the drawback as well in this. Let's take this template, and let's assume that this template is for booking a ticket. And here I want to book a ticket. If I'm trying to book a ticket, it should be either today's date or greater than today's date. The user cannot enter the previous date, that is, he cannot enter yesterday's date or anything less than today's date. So I have to validate that. Now in this case, what I'll do, I'll type 1st Jan, say 2020, and say enter. It is taking the values. I want to validate such a way that here it should not take the value which is less than today's date. My requirement is less than today's date. This is the template. Let me select all the cell values which I need to validate. Let's go to this data, and here I have this data validation. If you click on this, I'll get some options here. I'll click the data validation. Now I'll get a window like this. So what does this window say? There are so many options here. We'll understand that. It says any value. By default, when you create an Excel sheet and start entering the data, it will be any value. Can you see this? This is any values. Now I can start applying the condition on that. Let me click here. See, I have so many options. My option now, what I want is the validation that is on date. Let me click on this date. When I click on this date, it will ask the options what I should give, the criteria what I should mention here. It says data. Now my criteria is, the condition is, the date should be either today's date or greater than today's date. Now what I'll do, I'll go here, let's say greater than or equal to. See, I just mentioned greater than or equal to, and here I'll mention equals today. There is a function. In the previous session, in our formula sessions, we learned about this today. Today is nothing but today's date. I'm saying greater than or equal to today. That means tomorrow, if I open this template, it will take tomorrow's date. So today will become yesterday for tomorrow's date. So I'll mention here today. Don't mention today's date. What will happen if I mention 29th April 2020? So tomorrow it will easily take the previous date. Now I'll say okay. Let's go and try to enter 1st Jan 2020, like what we did. See, now it is saying no, you cannot enter. The message what I'm getting here, it says this value does not match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. Now it is not allowing me to enter, but what if the user will not understand what to enter? Now the user is trying to enter some date, it is not allowing, but how will the user know whether this should enter either today's date or greater than today's date? So we need to have a customized message here, not just the default message what the Excel is giving. I can do that as well. Let's say cancel. I will select this again, go to this data validation. Here what we'll do is, here I have something called as error alert. Error alert is an option which will give me the alerts, whether it should be a stop, warning, or information. There are three different error alert message what we get. One is stop. This is very strict. That means if you are entering an invalid data, what it will do is it will just stop. It will not allow you to enter the data. I have one more, warning. Warning is, it will say, see, please, what you're entering the data is wrong. Just check whether I need to save this data or not. That means it will give an option, but it will give an option as well saying that it is not the right data what you are entering. Another alert is information. It is just like an information. See, what you're entering is this is the data what you're entering, which should be greater than a today's date. It's just like information. So you can choose any of these three. These two will allow you to enter the data, but this will not allow you to enter the data. Let's take stop. Usually what we do is we'll take this stop, and you can see the icons as well. It will change. If I go here, I'll say stop. I'll get this icon that is stop. Here I have this title and error message. You can give any title you want. Let's say I'll give the title as, say, date. Just give date, or we'll say booking date. Fine. The message, the custom message what I need, I'll say please enter today's date or greater than today's date. See, I gave one custom message. I'll say okay. Now let me try to enter one date, the previous date. See, please enter today's date or greater than today's date. Now if I say retry, it will go and try to enter. Again, if I say enter, again I'll get the message. If I say cancel, it will come out. Let me select this, and I'll go to this data validation. Let me select this warning and say okay. Now let me enter. See, I told you it will give me a warning message. See the icon here. Please enter today's date or greater than today's date is the message. It will say continue. If I say yes, it will allow me to enter. Let me select again. Let me give this as information. I'll select this information, and if I say okay with the same message, see, I'll enter invalid data. See, it is saying please enter today's date and here it says like an information. If I say okay, it'll allow. So you have to decide what kind of alert I need, whether I should stop completely or I can still get a warning message and allow me to enter the data. Let me select this. That's always, I prefer always to give stop so that invalid data is not entered. Let me say okay. Fine. Next is I have a name here. Sometimes people will enter a very big name, whatever they want, they'll be keep on typing. I want to restrict this to only 20 characters. Say from 4 to 20. It should be minimum 4 characters and maximum 20 characters only. I'm just telling you the scenario. It can be applied anywhere you want. Let me go to this data, and here I'll select this validation. Let me select this, and here I have different options. Let me select text length now. Now the requirement is to count the length. It says text length, I'll say now between number of characters, minimum characters 4, maximum should be 20. I'll say okay. Now let's go and check. Say I'll just type 3 characters, enter. It will not take. You can give the message similarly like what we gave the message here. You can give the message. Now if I go here, I'll type like this, see, it will take. That means minimum 4 characters. Let me type something more than 20 characters, see, it will not take because this is exceeding more than 20 characters. So this is for text length. So you can give that custom message. Again, I'll not talk about that custom message here. I have one more option that I'll tell you in the end. What is the use of this input message? Okay, so you can give a message here saying that it should be between 4 to 20 characters. Coming to this age, let's say I want to enter age from 0 to 100 only, or say from say 20 to 60. I can restrict this however I want, or say greater than, less than, whatever. In this case, I'll go here, select this, and I'll say don't select text length because text length will take the number of characters. Now what I should do is I'll say whole number. Now here I'll say between, say 20, maximum is 60. Say okay. Let me try to enter. Let me enter 20. It will not take. Say 80. It will not take. So it will take only 20 to 60. Let me select 56. Say 23. It is allowing. So I'm trying to validate this. Fine. Next one. Here I have something called as group where I need to enter this group. I have a list of names here where only these names should be entered here. I have this yoga. Here when I type, some people enter yoga. So what if some people enter like this, which is actually not correct? These two, though they have typed as yoga, here I have 1 year and here I have 2 years, which is actually a mismatch. When I'm creating a report, this will be as a separate entity and this will be as a separate entity. This should not happen, because when I'm actually doing some total for this price and this price, it will not give me the total here. Taking this as one entity, it will take as 2 different entities. So what should I do so that people, whoever is entering here, the user who is entering here, should enter only these values? So for that, let me select this and I'll go here, data validation, and here I'll say list. This list will create a list inside this cell. In each cell, let me select the list and let's say okay. Let me go and check this. See, I'll have this list. Doesn't mean that I should only select here. If I type the right value, it will accept. Now if I go and give a wrong value, it will not. So this is actually, it is trying to validate. That means it's trying to validate the the values what I'm entering, so that I'll not enter wrong values. Right? So this is validation. Validation means you're trying to validate the value. That is, while entering the data, I should not enter wrong data. Fine. Whatever we are doing here, or the message what I was getting here when I enter a wrong data, That is after entering. Let's say I'll go here, I'll enter something here, or let's take here only. Let me select here. I'll show you one error alert here. Let's say name. Okay, so enter characters between 4 to 20. So this is the message. Say okay. Now suppose if I enter something here, say enter characters between 4 to 20. But how will I know that this message will come only after I enter? That means after I enter, then I'll get a message, then reading that, then I'll go and correct, which is actually time waste. That means the user will enter and then only will come to know that only 4 characters or greater than 4 characters up to 20 only can be entered. Or I have to go here and mention one message here saying that it should be from 4 to 20 characters. I cannot give everything, the validation type here. It will become like a mess. How to handle this? So what I'll do is select this validation. Here I have this input message. What this input message will do, this input message will give me a message before entering itself. Say I'll go here, let me take this message, I'll put it here, same message I'm putting it here, and here I'll say name, say okay. Now you see I'll just go and keep my cursor here. See, it is saying enter characters between 4 to 10 in the beginning only. It is something like a screen tip. See, you can do something like this as well. So this will be very useful when you are trying to enter a data and which has got a validation, so that you will not enter a wrong data. Now I'll understand this and then I'll enter the data. Fine. Now there is one problem here. I told there is one drawback here. What is the drawback? Let's say here I'm trying to enter a name which is greater than 20 characters. Let me type somewhere here, anywhere. Let me type here only. Right. I will copy this. Now I'm not typing, I'm copying this and I'm trying to paste it here. See, it will take. So what's happening here is whatever format is there here, I don't have any validation. So I'm copying this and I'm pasting it here. So the complete validation, whatever is there in this, it says any value, because here I'm not given any validation. If you go and check this, it says any value. See, this will be copied and pasted here. Now if you go and check this, it says any value, because there is no validation now, because the format, complete format has been copied and pasted here. So in this case you should be very careful. So you'll be now you'll have doubt, now what should I do after doing all these things? If someone copy and paste, we can protect the data such a way that they cannot copy and paste. That I'll tell you the next session, how to protect the sheets so that people will not copy and paste here and mess the validations. Okay, this is very important when you are actually creating a template wherein you are collecting information from other users, right? Okay, this is data validation. Next, what we'll do is we have this comments and printing techniques. It's a very simple chapter. I'll finish this so that we'll have this graphs and pivot tables in the next session. Comment. What is this comment? Let's go and check. Now comments are actually called as notes. So previously it was called as comments. Now we call it as notes. This is one simple template which we had created for one of our clients, that is Toyota Kirloskar, just for a simple a template wherein I'll just move my cursor here, so I should get the cars like this. So while giving training for them, they wanted something like this, so wherein they have a template where if they move their cursor, they should get some image like this. So where all I can use this option, say HRs, they can have employee ID and they can put their photos here. If I go here and just move my cursor, I'll get the photo of that particular say employee. This is something like we have this e-commerce website where I can move my cursor, I'll get the image of it or some details of it. So you can do something like this. How to do this, that I'll show you. Just go somewhere, anywhere in the sheet. I'll just right click. Here I'll get some options. Here I have this new note. Don't use comment. The comment is a totally different thing. Now I'll say new note. I'll get one note like this. I can type, say this is a note. Click outside. This is just a normal text note. I'll move here, see, it will come. But here when I go, I'm getting the image, see. So how to include image in this box? This is a normal one where people, what they do is they'll move their cursor and I'll get this. So if you want to add an image, so what I'll do is right click and say add note. I'll get this box. Clear all the text. You can just go here, just clear it. Select the box. See here, don't be inside this and say right click. Select the box here, the object, and then say right click. Here it says format comment. Click on this. I'll get one formatting window like this. See, when I'm inside this, if the cursor is blinking and if I say right click and say format, I'll get only font because I'm trying to format only the font. Now what I want to do is I want to format the object. So for that I should click outside. Click on any of these boxes, small boxes, and then right click and say format comment. See the difference? Previously I had got only font here. Now I'm getting so many other options. In this, what I'll do is I'll go to this colors and lines, and here I have different options. First thing what I'll do is I'll remove the outline. Remove outline so that you'll not have the borders. And then in this color, click here and I'll say fill effects. When I click on this fill effects, it'll take me to one more window where it will help me in giving some texture or say patterns or say gradient colors. Now what I want is the picture, not any of this. Suppose if you want to give any texture like this, you can select and you can give, or you can go, there'll be some different patterns. So suppose if you go here, see, I'll have different patterns like this. I can use this as well. If not, if you want an image, I'll go to this picture and here it will ask for selecting the picture. What I have done is in a folder I've collected all the different images here. So you can use this. Let me just copy this path, go to this Excel sheet, and then I'll say select picture. You can select the picture from internet as well, or you can go to this file, click on that file, it will ask for the path. Let me go here and I'll give that path. It will take me to that folder. So wherever folder you have with the images, let me select one of the cars like this, say one of the images, say OK, and if I say OK, see, now you can resize this to any size you want. That's it. Now if I move my cursor here, see, if it's a text, if you go here, only text I'll get. If you want an image, I'll go here, I'll get the image like this. So this comment or say note is actually used to get a hidden object, wherein if I just move my cursor to the cell where I've applied, I'll get the data here or say information. This is actually used because unnecessarily, if you have, say for example, I want to have some explanation here. If I'll put some explanation here, the data is getting more. That means the template will get again messed up. Otherwise, I don't want that information now. The information I should get only when I move my cursor here. Then I can use these kind of nodes, which is very much easy to create and very much nice to present as well, right? So this is note or comment. Now it is called as note. Now suppose if you say, I'll say note, but when I'm formatting, it still says comment, because I think they would have not observed this. So they'll slowly change this as well. But don't get confused. Now the comment is called as note. All right. Next one is, let's try to work on this printing techniques. Printing techniques means printing your data. Everyone knows how to print. Let's say if you want to print, I'll say Control P and I'll print the data. But when you have one or two sheets, so don't have to bother about printing the data. Just say Control P, I'll get one preview, and hit print, I'll get the printout. But what if I have a huge data like this? Let's say I have a huge data here and I have a huge data here like this. So row wise and column wise. When I say Control P, see, I'm getting the data and I'm getting 72 sheets here. Let me scroll down. See, I'm getting a lot of data here to be printed, 72 sheets. But there is a problem here when you have this kind of data. What is the problem? Control P. See this data, I have the header here. It says the year and the zone. Let me go to second sheet. See, I don't have the header, but here I have this row headers, but column header is not there. How will I know that which year data it is? Fine, let me scroll further down. Yes, now if you come to this sheet, I don't have the zone or the country here, and I don't have the year also. So how will I know that? If I take printout like this, so what is the use of taking printout like this? I don't have any information. I don't understand on which year this sales has been done, or for which year the data is speaking, for which zone it is speaking. So what we should do for this? We have to have the headers in all the sheets, but I cannot go and keep copying and pasting every sheets like this. If you go to this view and say page break preview, I'll get this sheet. See, I cannot go and insert two columns here and again paste it here, and wherever the data is getting cut, I'll put the years. So for this, what I'll do is I'll go to this page layout, and here it says print titles. Click on this print title. When I say print title, it will take me to the sheet tab here, which says page setup sheet. Here I have two options, rows to repeat, columns to repeat. So what I'll do is I'll say rows to repeat, and I'll select. Can you see the cursor here? It becomes like this. That shows from left to right. Let me click the column which, sorry, the row which I need to repeat. I'll click on this. See, this is the row I need to repeat. Fine. Next option, columns to repeat. Select this. I will select these two and say print preview. Now if you go and check, let's go to next sheet. Can you see this? Now I have headers everywhere, the row header and the column header. Fine. My the task, or say the requirement, is solved. But if you go and check the number of sheets, it says 133. From 72, it increased to 133. The reason is here two columns got added in every sheet, and the header also got added in every sheet. What print preview I'm seeing here is 100%. 100% means whatever font size is there in my sheet, the same font size will be here for printing. That doesn't mean that what some people will do is they'll go here, they'll start reducing the font size and dragging this column here, reducing the column size. Don't do that. Let the data be as is. How to change that? Let me go to normal view. Okay, you can see that. See, some lines. This is where the sheets are getting cut. This is the font size what I have. The same font size I'll get in the printout as well. So what I'll do, again I'll go to this Control P. So what we have to do is, see, it says 133. The data is actually horizontal like this, which is wide. I'll go and I'll change the orientation from portrait to landscape. Just observe, I'll say landscape. When I mention it as landscape, from 133 it got reduced to 133 because the data was aligned like that. It is wide like this. Now I'm getting 87 sheets because the data is getting accumulated more here. If you go to this portrait, you can see a lot of spaces has been wasted here and here. And if I go here, I'll say landscape. It will give me more space because it is wide and it's coming to 87. Fine. Let's see further can we reduce it. Go to this page setup. Now, if you go to this page setup, if you click here, I have page. So previously I went to the sheet, I selected rows and columns. Now let's come back to this page. Here it says adjust 100% and fit to number of pages like this. What I'll do is I'll try to reduce this to 80%. When you reduce this to 80%, nothing will happen. It will just reduce the size of these fonts and all those things, but not in the main sheet. It will just reduce the percentage of printout. Let me say okay. See, more columns got added here, and from 87 or something it came to 69 sheet. Now I have some space here. We can adjust this. How to adjust? Then we'll go to margins. Where are those margins? Either I can go and select here, or what I'll do, here I have this margin. If you see in the right side corner, just click on this. Let me just drag this little, and I'll drag this little, and here also have some space here. I can just go here. See, it came to 44 sheets. Still, if you want, you can just go and you can increase this. See, from 133 sheets I took the sheets to 42. That means before taking printout, first what we should do, you should all work on all these steps. Then only you should hit print. Otherwise, I'll print 133 sheets, and then I'll feel that there is something wrong, and again I cannot go and print because we should not waste the sheets. So we have an option to preview. Check everything in the beginning and then only hit print. Fine. Now while taking printout, one more thing what we should actually notice is we need to have page numbers. It's a good practice when you have more number of sheets to be printed. If I take a printout, only 20 sheets has been printed and rest 22 sheets are not printed, what will you do? Or when I took 42 sheets and everything is messed up, then what will you do? You cannot go and again manually align it. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll say page setup. Here I have something called as header footer. The previous selection was the margin, so here you can adjust manually also. I just took this here because it will be easy for me to adjust. Suppose if you think that you want to go to margin here and do it, you can do it here also. But better way is go here and then drag it. You will also see the preview and know where the margin should stop. Okay. Now coming to this header and footer. What is this header and footer? Whenever I'm printing a data, anything, any text which will come on top of the printed sheet, that is called as header. Anything will come in the bottom, that is called as footer. So you can put the the data what you are trying to print either in the header or footer. It depends on you. There is no hard and fast rule that the data should be on header or footer. Now what we'll do, we'll go here. Let's say I'll take the page number in footer. Usually the page numbers we give bottom right side, because when you're flipping the pages, it is easy for me to see the page numbers. And again, this is not a rule that it should be there. Usually if you see, the page numbers will be in the bottom right, because while flipping the page, it is easy to see that. Let me click on this footer. I have three different sections. Say 1, 2, 3. That is left, center, right. I told you the page numbers will be most of the time in the right section. Now I am in footer, that is bottom, and I'll try to give page number here in this place. I have some options here. See, this is for page, the page number. Don't type 1. If I say hard coded text, everywhere it will be 1 1 1 1. I'll show you that also. I'll say page of pages. So what is this page of pages? This will give me the total number of pages what we have, that is 42, and this page will give me the page number. It is like 1 of 42, 2 of 42, so that even if I miss something, I can easily know that till where the pages are printed or all the pages have been printed. Say okay, and then say okay. Now if you see this, let me zoom this. Here I have this. Just click on that. See, 1 of 42. Let me remove this margin. See, 1 of 42. Let's go to next sheet. 2 of 42. This for the page number. Let's go to that page setup again. Header footer. Here I'll say footer. See, then the left section, I want to say give company name, and I'll say okay. This is hard coded value. Now if I say okay and say okay, let me scroll towards my left hand side. See, here I have this company name. This is hard coded. This is not dynamic. So if you see here, this will be keep changing, this 10. Let me go back, and if I just say next, see, this will be available as is. Let's again go back to the page setup. I have this header footer. Again, I'll go to this header now. I want the file name to be printed. I'll go here, see here, insert a file name, click on this file name. So what it will do, it will give me the current file name what I'm working. Say okay and say okay. You scroll up. See, it says printing techniques. This is the file name. So this is how you can actually give the options of header and footer. Let's go back to first sheet. If you think you want to add some more text here, anything, you can just go and add here. So this is how you can print. The printing, what's happening here, this one, the header or footer, this will come only when you print. It will not be there in my main sheet here, right? This is for printing. Now let's go to this page preview, say view, and say page break preview. This will show me where the sheets are getting cut here. See, now if you check this, the pages are printing vertically. Say page 1, page 2, page 3, like this. What if I want to print like this? Say page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. That is horizontally. Then I don't have to bother. I can go to this page layout and here just say print titles. If you scroll down here, see it says down then over. So what it will do, it will print all the sheets like vertically, and then again it will go to next level like this. Then if I have some more data here, so it goes on. What I want is I'll say over then down. That means like this, horizontal. Now if I say okay, I see first it will print this page 2, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, like this. This is horizontal. So you can print the data like this as well, that is sheets. See, fine. Let me show you one more option. Let me say page layout, say view, say normal. So what we did here is for entire sheet. Now what if I want to print only this much, only this much, only this area? Then what I'll do, I'll go here, page layout. Here I have something called as print area. Say set print area. Click on this. Now the print area will be set only for the selected area. Now let's say Control P. See, only this area will be printed, and you can see one of one. You can select the area. So I want to print only this. You can set the print area. If you want to clear that, now whenever I go and say Control P, I'll always get only that sheet. So what I'll do, I'll say clear print area. That's it. Now say Control P again, it will go back to the same data for entire sheet. So this is what we can do in printing technique. So before printing, please plan and see how much you can reduce the number of sheets. And before hitting print also, check the preview properly and make sure that the print or say the printout, whatever is there, that is necessary or not. If you think that it's not necessary, please do not print. If you think that it has to be printed, then check twice, thrice before hitting print so that you'll not waste the papers. Right, so this is what we have for today's session. So I'll stop here, right?